name is Dylan Foster, video producer for Game Expresso, and today I'm leading out my very first series. This series will be based and dedicated towards Hearthstone, which is an online card playing game. Sounds boring at first, but once you get into it, it's actually rather enjoyable. This will be the first episode, as I'm pretty sure you've all figured out by now. So basically this won't include any gameplay, this will just include some navigation, how the game works, some general explanations on how the cards work and all that jazz. So first off, you get the opening screen. We'll have a scroll around, we'll do some we'll work ourselves around this whole game. It's a very well made intro screen. How do you say it? It's a very well laid out menu, perhaps. So when you load up, you get your decks, you get ranked and casual. It's very self-explanatory. Ranked is if you lose or win, you'll lose stars or you'll gain stars. Casual is just, I'm there to play just for fun. One of the new additions are solo adventures. Now these are single player adventures where you verse the computer. So you've got the practice mode, which you start off as when you first open the game, so you can practice against normal or expert bots. There's got the Naxxramas pack, where you have the normal bosses, you've got the challenge classes, and then you've got the heroic bosses. So heroic are very strong AIs, they're really hard, you pretty much have to have a dedicated deck to be able to defeat them. And one of the brand new releases is Black Rock Mountain.
My home.
As you can see, I'm very new to this. Ooh.
I will fry you dry.
They have some cool interactions with the player, so oh god. This guy's still going.
You should make a visit to the Molten Core. I think Ragnaros has overstayed his welcome. Be my guest, insect.
Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, Black Rock Mountain, same thing as Naxxramas, except the different themes. So you look at this one, and it's very spooky, sort of Halloweenish. You've got a spider over here, you've got an abomination there, and then you've got Black Rock Mountain, which is dragons and all. Look, it's very different from one another. So moving on back, we've got the arena. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to show the arena, as to get in, you either have to pay or you have to have 150 gold. I'll explain gold later down the track. But the arena pretty much is, once you buy into the arena, you have one chance, and basically they give you an option of 3 characters, which I'll also explain the characters later. And once you've picked the characters, you choose a deck from randomized cards. So you can either get a really amazing deck or you can get a really shoddy deck, and depending on what you choose will be depending on how many wins you get in that arena run. You have 3 losses, so after your 3 losses you can't play any more games, and you unlock the key you've managed to earn, and the key will change depending on the wins you got. Now say if I have 30 wins and I eventually lose, I eventually run out of my 3 chances, I'll open whatever prize I get, and the prize will be really good, because that's an absolutely amazing run. But if I only get 2 wins and I lose 3 times, I'm probably only going to get subpar items. Now the thing is, with Arena, you'll always get a card deck, and you'll always get something else. So you'll get either gold, dust, or a card. So I did an Arena run a couple weeks ago, and I got a card pack, and I also got a priest card. Now moving along, we've got the shop here. So you can choose, if you want to buy cards, you can either buy 1 pack with gold, or you can buy multiple packs with real money. Now there's 2 different packs here. There's the classic packs, which are best for new players, so they've got all the basic cards to build a deck. I still personally prefer the basic cards, only because I haven't really tried out goblins and gnomes just yet, but I heard they are very fun to use. Goblins and gnomes basically relate off each other, so you have mech classes. So if you have so many mechs, if you have a mech deck, they'll all interrelate with each other. So it'll be easy to explain later. And then you can purchase your campaigns. One of my main issues with this game is that their campaigns are rather expensive. So for instance, to unlock Black Rock Mountain, which unlocks all 5 wings, that costs close to $30, which is a bit of an issue later down the track. But well, they always give you, I think, one area for free, which isn't that bad, because you automatically get, I think it's think you get one legendary for every boss you beat, but those legendaries aren't necessarily the best because they're obviously, you have to pay to get them pretty much. Moving along, we've got the quest log. So basically it shows your basic stats throughout the game. So I've got my total wins, I've got my current rank, which you'll slowly see me earning up throughout the tutorial, I suppose. We will be playing some ranked modes, trying to get in some new metas and all that stuff, all that cool jazz. I've got the best arena key I've currently earned. So my best key I've earned are 3 wins, unfortunately, because I don't play arena a lot. I don't really like it. I prefer just to buy the card packs outright because generally it's very RNG with arena. You either get a really good deck or you get a really bad deck. But it also shows your true ability with being able to manage cards which you get, which is pretty good. If you're a good player, go for the arena, but if you're a subpar player like me, I'd start off with card packs. I will start moving on to arena as it is a lot better. Mage, basically these are the 9 different characters you can choose from. Obviously from just looking at it you can tell which characters I play the most and which characters I play the least. So obviously I play the most is the Warlock, and I also play the most as Shaman, and I'm working on my Mage somewhat. So these 3 are the main champions you will be seeing me play during ranked, but I am trying to expand out. So Hunter, I'm trying to level up a bit more. Paladin, Warrior, I really don't enjoy. They're just not my type of playing. Paladin and Warrior very much late game characters I find, whereas Warlock is I play the Zoolock, which I'll explain later, which is very rushing and controlling the board. Shaman is totally about controlling the board. It's not necessarily, it's in some cases late game, but in also other cases it's mainly just controlling the board. Same with Mage. Mage is more of a late game, mid game controlling the board type of theme. They use a lot of spells to control everything. Another thing to keep in mind is every time you go up a certain amount of levels, you'll unlock a new card which is dedicated to that class, which I'll explain later down the track. You'll also get your 3 quests. So each quest you'll get 1 quest per day, and sometimes it's better to just get that quest done in that day, because otherwise they'll just keep on stacking up. So at the moment I've got a Mage or Shaman Dominance quest, which will give me 60 gold if I win 5 games as the Mage or Shaman. So that should be relatively easy because I main both of them, so I should be getting through that rather quickly. 3 victories, win 3 games with any class, and I get 40 gold. That should be pretty easy, as I'll earn that by the time I earn that as well. So some quests do relate with each other, and then this is probably the easiest. Watch and learn. Watch a friend in spectator mode. It shows you how I've taken a massive break, obviously, because I've only just gotten this quest. So they released spectator mode out a while ago, but I only just started getting back into it recently because I took a massive break to try out some new games like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Just CS:GO was another thing I played, but keeping on track. I'm getting off track a bit. So they're the quests. Moving on, this is where you open your packs. So once you have packs, you just put them into the card opener and you open them and you just pray for the best. You'll pray for good cards, pretty much. I've explained everything around here, so we'll go into my collection and we'll have a little look at my cards which I currently own. Now this is the card screen. So basically up here you've got all your classes. So you've got your Druid, your Hunter, your Mage, etc. And then you've got your neutral cards. So these cards can go with any type of character you choose. However, I can't choose, for instance, if I want to put Sacrificial Pacts but I'm playing as a Warlock, I can't do that. It won't let me, because those are class dedicated cards. Another thing about class dedicated cards is you can't disenchant them. So for instance, if I can't disenchant this Sacrificial Pact because it's bound to that champion, whereas for instance some of the neutral cards I can disenchant. Well, what I just said isn't necessarily correct. Yes, you can disenchant some cards. Basically, if they've got a gem in the middle, you can disenchant them no matter what, but if they don't have a gem, you can't disenchant them, which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad, but because sometimes you have really bad class dedicated cards, like for instance Succubus. I think they actually buffed that from the looks, but from what I know, I don't use Succubus, I don't enjoy it. But yeah, so that's pretty much the some of the cards explained. Gold cards don't do anything different. As you can see, all they do is just make it look like you have a cool animation thing. And one of the cool Easter eggs about this game is that if you have a full deck of golden cards, occasionally you'll earn a coin, which I'll explain later down the track as well. But that coin will also be golden, which is fairly cool. I find I've never earned that because I don't have enough golden cards for a golden deck, but hopefully one day. Crafting mode. So once you have enough dust, this is where I was talking about the dust. Once you have enough dust, you can craft different cards. Now, depending on the rarity of the card, will be depending on the cost. The amount of dust needed. So for instance, I've got all these extra cards. So I've got 2 commons, which I've basically, if you can only have, as it says up here, you can't have more than 2 copies of a card in your deck, or more than 1 of each legendary. I'll go to legendaries down the track. So you might as well disenchant extras and turn them into arcane dust. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You can only have 2 cards for any type of. You can only have 2 cards. Of the same type of card, if that makes sense. So I can't have, say, I can't have 3 archers. I can only use 2 in a deck. So you might as well just disenchant them because you're not going to use them. So bam, I've got 10 arcane dust. Fortunately, I can't really do anything with that because the lowest, which is just a general, a white, a common card, it costs 40. But to disenchant it, I'd get 5. So say, man, I really need to get that Dark Bomb. That Dark Bomb is like, it's quintessential to my class. What I can do is I can go to my Felguard, I'll disenchant that for 20, and say I'll disenchant my 2 Power Informings because I don't really like those anyway. So then I can get a Dark Bomb. But the issue is with that, I've disenchanted a blue card, which costs 100 dust to get back, and I'm only getting 20. So you have to really be dedicated if you're going to disenchant cards. For me, I would generally just disenchant all of like the all of the class specific cards which I don't use for that class. So if that probably doesn't make sense. I don't enjoy playing the priest, so what I'll do is I'll disenchant all the priest cards. But for the sake of this series, I'm going to try not to do that, and I'm going to try I'm just going to try to keep all the cards, try to build a good deck with all of them, so I can get you guys the best gameplay as possible if you guys need help with different types of classes. Moving along. Up there, the red, I don't know, number 1, the red number thing there, tells me that you've got a new card which you haven't looked at yet. So I've obviously opened a card pack and I've neglected to look at it, which is my Force Tank Max. So, having a look at the Force Tank Max, you know, it's an alright card. It's really late game. I can see that being used for druids, you know, with the innovates, which I'll explain later. But at the moment I won't be using that. Another cool thing which I've kind of left out is when you click on a card, it gives you some lore about it. It gives you what card pack it was from. It tells you what rarity of the card it is, and it also gives you the artist. So one thing which I love about Hearthstone is they definitely try to get their artists to be known, and they like to inform the people who play the game about the artist. So say if I'm scrolling through and I'm like, man, that guy did a great job with Defender of Argus. Well, who's that artist? I can go, oh, it's Alex Hawley Orlandi or whatever. I can't probably pronounce his name extremely wrong, forgive me. I forgot here also, there's a lot of things which I might be leaving out, but you know, it's pretty much self-explanatory. You've got the friends list, and then when we're creating a new deck, so I'll open it up. I've got my new deck, so say if I'm like, man, I want to give Hunter another chance. Hunter, I've neglected him a bit. He's an alright character, so I'll build a deck. So say if I just want all of these, even though I would never do that, but see, I can't put in 4 trackings because I can only have 2 of the same card in one deck, unless it's a legendary and I can only have 1. So then I'm like, I want the Timberwolf, I want the Explosive Trap, I want the Freezing Trap, I want the Misdirection, and done. I just want 13 cards. Oh, sorry, the minimum amount of cards and also the maximum amount of cards you can have in your deck is 30. So the thing is, if you just can't be bothered and you just want it to be filled in, the game will just automatically fill it in with cards depending on the amount of the mana curve you currently have in that deck. So I had a mana curve which was heavily based on 1s and 2s, so it added in all 3s, 4s, 5s, all the way down to 7s. I highly, unless you're really new to the game, I highly suggest you, even if you are new, I highly suggest against you doing that and just letting the computer fill it out, because they don't think of the current meta and they don't think of how cards relate. What I would suggest you to do, and I'll leave the link in the bottom, is to go on online card deck builders, or just go on websites which they show you how to build decks. There's people who go into competitions like Trump and Kaparan, I think his name is. They build really amazing decks. I'll leave their websites in the description below for you guys if you guys are wanting to build really good decks, but keep in mind their decks generally have a lot of high tier cards. Now, going back into the high tier cards, I'll quickly delete that, being that thing isn't going to be the best for online or offline game modes. You've got 3 tiers. You've got, I don't think I'll be able to show you. No. Okay, so you've got the common tier, which is the white, which are really easy to get. When you open a card pack, you'll definitely get 1 blue, and you'll get 4 random cards. So you'll get 1 blue or above, and random cards pretty much. But the common theme is you'll get 1 blue and then 4 whites, which is kind of disappointing, but oh well, it's just a thing you have to deal with, I suppose. So going to the freezing trap, that's a common, you know, not too amazing. You got a misdirection, ooh, it's kind of nice. I don't actually think I have a purple in here, unfortunately, but I will show you a legendary, which I do have. Where is she? There she is, Old Murkai. Legendaries generally are very powerful cards. Old Murkai, for instance, has 1+ attack damage for each other Murloc on the battlefield, and it also has charge. I'll get into that later, but basically if you're running a Murloc deck, generally you run them with good old Warlock, so Warlock the Murloc deck. They get very strong, and Old Murkai can just snowball insanely. I'll explain all those terms later down the track. I'm sure many of you guys already know what they mean, but this episode was directed for the people just opening the game, just trying to get a handle on what this game is about. And if you're not sure if you will enjoy this game, let me just say that if you give it a shot, and if you keep on trying to build up your decks, I can assure you, you won't be disappointed. One of the things you will expect, though, is to get absolutely wrecked in ranked when you get down to the highest ranks. The highest up and down, I think, is around rank 10, and you start off at rank 25, and you work your way down to, I think it's legend, or it's like a symbol. It's an orange symbol, pretty much. And going down the ranks, you can definitely see people who have better decks, and the thing is, if you have a good deck, you're generally going to get down the other rank, but another thing is, if you have amazing skill at the game, you're not going to need that much of a high tier deck. So I can get down to rank 10 without using 1 legendary in my deck. That's pretty good, even though my deck, for instance, my main deck is the Divine Zoo. So I'll explain this in probably the next episode when I do one of my deck spotlights. But this, I would absolutely love to have a legendary in. I would absolutely love to take out, well, not this deck, this deck's probably a bad example. Say for my mage deck, which I did get from the Trump free-to-play deck. One of the things which I'd love is to take out the Chillwind Yetis, or take out 1 Chillwind Yeti and add in, we're going to, Khan? No. What's his name? Khan. Let's just go to the 4 mana, and then let's go down neutral. Sure, we'll find it. Maybe it's 5 mana. It's probably 5 mana. Where are you? Where are you, Khan Bloodhoof? Did I miss him? I may have missed him. This is a little weird here, guys. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure where and Bloodhoof currently is. Probably left the building. But, oh well. Yeah, so, Back onto the cards, it doesn't really matter as long as you have a deck which relates with each other. They generally work, you generally can get down the higher ranks.